Good evening. Our show covers sensitive material, so viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to the H2G Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the H2G Podcast. My neck's a little sore. I'm looking down, but we're going to start this thing off right like we always do. Marvin's in the building. I haven't seen Marvin in a little bit, so let's start off with Marvin, man. How was your week? I saw something about a date earlier, so I'm curious about that, too. That's two-part.
Yeah, I missed you fellas last week. My apologies. I was on a date that went longer than expected. And went pretty well. You know, guys, I can't really complain about this one. See the little heart down there, Tony. I would have to agree with that heart. She was definitely dope. And I honestly thought the date would go like a couple hours. But, it's always great when you have an attraction, but you got that stimulating conversation to go with it. Like that person's actually smart and loves football, by the way. So that's a huge plus. And she's a Harry Potter fan, y'all. So that her love of football.
Oh, get her. Keep her, Marvin. Keep her. Football and Harry Potter.
It balances itself out. Like it's balancing itself out. It was a great week, Richie. I'm back here in Ohio, actually visiting fam for upcoming holiday. And looking forward to a great show. Glad to see you guys.
Yeah. Glad to hear it went well, man. I don't know though. I'll say this much. I'm gonna put you down just to tell there, Marv. Be careful, brother. Everything sounds too good to be true. You can never just let your energy stay a little back because you never know, right? The next thing you know, she's just gonna be like a Blue Lives Matter person. So watch out for yourself.
Yeah.
Just keep your emotions in check. But I'm glad to hear that she seems so dope. That's great to hear, man. And if Marvin missed out on The Wire, that means it was a fantastic date. So I'm looking forward to hopefully hearing more from that. Better than Hazel. So, Justin, how about you, man? How was your week?
Man, my week was awesome. I mean, it was a little stressful, but it's just something I've never got to do before. I've gotten to the place in my life where I can kind of, one, we've talked about it. You and I are kind of both getting into the family lifestyle, but I've never been able to do Christmas for everybody before. And this year that has become a possibility. And so I made a list. I checked it twice. I went to all the malls. I've been to so many different shopping centers and malls and waited in lines and asked random people. And it's crazy because I'm all by myself in Texas. Like everybody I'm buying for is in different states. So the good thing is I didn't have to hide anything in the house. Everything was just kind of out in the open. I could kind of look to see who I got taken care of, put them in piles. You know what I mean? But I bought a little 4-footer Christmas tree so I could put it up on a little bench and put some presents around it. I'm pretty much done. I've got to grind my gears thing later about a certain store or a certain brand that we may have talked about before. That grinding my gears a little bit today, but I don't know. It's just all in all, every part of this week was pretty much the best part of my week. Work is paying me to learn more about what I love to do, and there'll be probably more to come in that announcement strain. And then I'm booking like crazy for American Immersion Theater because of the holidays. So just a lot of really cool stuff going on right now.
Cool, man. How about you, Tony?
Oh, same old pimping. Look at these three fresh guys up in here today. Big week for me. Ohio State won against the Spartans. I really like that game. I'm not gonna go into it because this is not The Wire. Number one. Number two, just getting ready. Thanksgiving was yesterday, so family times for Christmas. Great Thanksgiving. Got to spend time with the family. Got to eat big turkey, some ham, some sweet potato casserole, sweet potato pie. You know what I mean? Marvin, come off mute real quick. Marvin, what are you taking? Sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie?
Sweet potato pie all day. Come on, man.
Okay.
You do not know me. You don't know me, man.
Okay, I just wanted to make it. Is it cornbread dressing or is it? Well, hold on. Let me do it this way. Is it stuffing or is it dressing? Dressing. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. And do you like cranberry sauce? You like cranberry sauce, Marvin?
I don't think I've heard anybody in my family say stuffing.
Hey, I'm not trying to say anything.
Nobody. I've just never heard it.
I've heard of stuffing before.
Well, of course you've heard of stuffing. You probably also like pumpkin pie, don't you, Justin?
I love pumpkin pie and pumpkin spice. All things pumpkin. Oh my God.
Stuffing?
But anyway, enough of that. But I just wanted to come off real quick and ask Marvin, and thank you, Justin, for coming off mute to say your part as well. But Richie, what was the best part about your week?
Honestly, just not having a stressful week at work. I've been dealing with like a $14 million project. It's been a lot. Every day has been pretty nasty. And this was just a week, even though it wasn't stressful. The reason why is nothing was happening on the projects. We're going back into it pretty soon. I got to see a 49ers game recently, obviously, so I missed the wire myself. But that'll be for the wire nonetheless. So I had a great week. It was not stressful. It was just relaxed, and holidays coming up, what could be better? What could be better? But we're going to change gears now, because it's not about what's good. It's what's grinding our gears. And Justin already had something he wanted to talk about before I get into what's grinding my gears. Justin.
Yeah, we'll go with the not so heavy one, because the other two I have, like, one can be an in-depth conversation. I don't think it's heavy. I have a little bit to say about the Rittenhouse thing. But before all that, I don't know if I should blame Best Buy. I don't know if I should blame Apple. But if you're planning on using any of the lease-to-own services through any of your retailers, make sure that you are aware that Apple products, when it comes to cell phones, cannot be purchased via any lease or outright in any fashion from any store but Apple. So you can't go to Best Buy like I did with my phone and buy an iPhone 13 for cash. You have to sign up with a carrier. You've got to transfer the number on the spot. So if you're trying to do a phone for Christmas, which I no longer can do, so it's okay to talk about, you are not able to just like set up a lease on that phone for whatever reason, and you're not able to buy it completely unlocked from anyone except for Apple. I think that's a little stingy. We talked about Apple versus Android before. I think it's ridiculous that I can't go. The Apple is not allowing stores like Best Buy to put deals on their phones. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. My phone was more expensive than that phone too. So I don't understand how I was able to go in there and buy my phone cash. And this one, the 13 Pro Max, I had to go to Apple in order to do it. So just grinding my gears a little bit. It was a lot of just red flags, and the whole process is just a mess. You can't buy a phone for someone for Christmas because you have to have the person that's on their plan in the store. So the only way to really do it is if Richie and I are both on the same plan. I want to buy Richie a phone. We both have to be primary users, or I have to have Richie at the store to buy the phone. So yeah, so Christmas is ruined. So it's a little bit on Best Buy, a little bit on Apple. But I was planning on buying this 13 Pro Max for somebody for like months. And so it was just that, I talked with the store. I'm a big I still call corporate offices before I go into stores to get an understanding of everything. So I'm in sales. I want to go in and know what's going on. So when I get one picture from the corporate office, and I get in the store and I'm presented with something completely different, just grinds my gears. You know what I mean?
Well, in all fairness, Justin, you can buy it at the Apple store. It's not like you can't.
Yeah.
But you just can't do it at other vendors.
Yeah. So to do that, you got to either pay their full retail price or use their like Apple credit card. So you can still get it unlocked, but you can't do it through any other retailer.
Precisely. Well, but quite frankly, most phones right now don't necessarily even come unlocked. Like T-Mobile has a very big scam. I don't know if anyone's on T-Mobile, but let me explain. When you buy a phone through T-Mobile, you do not get to just unlock it. You have to ask them to unlock it. You can only unlock 2 phones per year. It's the only carrier out of all the major American carriers that will not unlock. Like if you have a family of 4, you can only unlock 2 per year, which means you're stuck for 2 years with T-Mobile no matter what, because it's stuck on the T-Mobile line. So quite frankly, the carrier stuff is the bigger thing. It's more has to do with carriers and like individual companies. Like, because you could have a Galaxy, you could have a Google phone. It doesn't matter. If you're on T-Mobile, you only get 2 off per year. Any other line, Verizon, etc., you can do them all once you pay them off. So I've always been a big proponent, quite frankly, of going direct to the source, unless the company, like T-Mobile, for instance, is going to buy you a phone if you switch, then sure. But overall, I get where you're coming from, Justin, but I don't know. I guess I'm just going to be the guy that says, like, have more money and just buy it direct. Come on, man. What are you talking about?
Well, I was contemplating doing that, but with the rest of Christmas, I was hoping to break that into a couple of payment too. And that I will definitely, we're not getting paid by them. I would love to, but Progressive Leasing, folks, if you've never done it and you want to make some big purchases, they've got a 90-day same as cash option. It only costs you like 5 to 10%, depending on your what you get approved for. So, I mean, you really
Or if you have PayPal credit.
Oh, yeah.
Credit allows you 6 months, 0% APR.
Yeah.
You don't get charged anything. So
gorgeous.
If the company, like Best Buy, for instance, has PayPal credit, you can do that. Or Apple, for instance, you can use PayPal credit. And you can buy the entire Apple i13 Pro Max for whatever it is, $11.99.
I was not told that.
6 months to pay it off.
I would have, see, Richie, I needed you in the store.
You just needed me in time, my friend.
It's all right. I did find that person is well taken care of. They got probably more now. So, but yeah, that was a little grinding gear.
Yeah, I understand. But you know what? This is a positive because the 13 isn't that big of an upgrade. Wait for the 14 anyway. That's my motto. I'm waiting for the 14. Marvin, how about you, man? What's grinding your gears? What's bothering you?
You want to know one thing or you want to know a lot? I mean, there's a lot that kind of gets on my nerves. I mean, did y'all want me to like kind of narrow it down?
Do it. Hey, you do you, man. This is just grinding through gears. I'm not going to tell you how upset you are.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, I'll just start with one thing that kind of pisses me off. And this is recent. And I know this has probably happened to y'all one time or another. But when you're on a plane and you're on the plane, all you want to do is just relax. Even if you don't fall asleep, you just kind of want to sit there, relax, get from point A to point B without any problems. Flying is stressful as it is anyway. Going through security, the long lines, the check-in. It seems like fun putting your travel plans in order, but all of you know it's stressful when you get to the airport. But when you're on a plane, y'all, you just want peace and quiet. Why do I have to hear or overhear someone's conversation? It's like they're doing it on purpose. Like they're having a conversation with the person next to them and they're purposely being out loud. They're purposely being loud just so everyone can hear what they're talking about. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting way in the back and I can hear and understand what it is that they're talking about. Like I'm gathering all this information and the guy next to me is like, dude, what the fuck is going on? Like, why can't I just relax? Like it's a 5 a.m. flight. It's 6 in the morning. Why do you have to be this loud? So that is like one thing. Well, that's amongst many things that grinds my gears. It's not that it happens all the time. It just kind of pisses me off in the moment because this person wants so much attention, that they don't get enough attention in the day. So it's like, hey, let me sit on a plane and get everybody's attention so I can have everyone hear what it is I'm talking about. Second thing that grinds my gears, people that surf social media without texting you back. That is one of the most juvenile things you can do in today's society is by being on social media, surfing, scrolling, clicking and liking, all the while you haven't communicated. You've left someone on red or you haven't communicated. You can't communicate in person, but you can scroll. That's one of the biggest things. It's so annoying because it's like that person knows what they're doing, but yet they have no idea how rude that they're being and how inconsiderate they are. It really comes off as insensitive. And I know you fellas have been there. I know a lot of you out there have been there. And if you are one of those people that do that, shame on you. Stop. You're one of those people that piss me off. Listen, I get it. Like if it's a significant event, okay, cool. But if you just if someone's texting you and I see that you're on social media all day and you haven't responded, especially if it's about business or money you're owed, Richie, Justin, Tony, or it's some money you're owed, and you see that person on social media, long. Don't get me started.
It's my money, Brian.
And third thing that grinds my gears, this is the last thing. There's a lot of things that make me mad. But I would probably have to say reboots, Tony, and this one's for you. I have to say reboots because, let's just go for example, Coming to America 2. Why do that? And that's most many movies that they're doing now. Like they always have to take your childhood and they got to reboot it. They got to reboot it for today's Gen Zers that will never appreciate it. So, and that goes for shows, that goes for movies. I just think that things should stay put. Things should stay in place. Like they want to make another, like Richie, they want to make another Set It Off. No, don't make another Set It Off with Tiffany Haddish, and they're making it a comedy. It's a comedy at that point. Set It Off with Queen Latifah and Jada Pinkett, and I think Kimberly Elsie. That is not a comedy. That is not a comedy. Putting her in it and putting what's her name from Insecure in it? What's her name? Issa Rae. They put Issa Rae.
Oh, okay.
Issa Rae and Tiffany Haddish in a new Set It Off movie. Now, I'm not hating on Issa Rae or Tiffany Haddish, but this is what I'm talking about, reboots. Leave classic timepieces alone, timeless pieces alone. Like, would y'all want The Godfather remade? Would y'all want Scarface remade?
Yeah, no. Man.
No.
I mean, Marvin, they remade Home Alone, though, right? Come on.
Well, that's a sequel, though. Isn't that another sequel?
Yeah.
They're remaking Home Alone?
Well, they got a new one.
They did. They got a new one on Disney. And it's a sequel that it's really bad. I don't want to get into it.
It's a money grab.
That's what it is. It's money grab.
But, I don't want to make my pet peeves and what grinds my gears long-winded. Y'all just know where I stand on reboots, Tony. You know where I stand on what else? Oh, on planes. Y'all know where I stand on that.
Plane etiquette.
Plane etiquette. And what else did I say that pissed me off? I'm losing track. I'm losing track here. What did I say that made
ghosting? Internet ghosting.
Yeah, ghosting and social media. That's it. So that's what pisses me off, y'all. If you're out there, don't do it, and just communicate before you get on social media. And no reboots. I'm done with the reboots.
Yeah, I got ghosted too by one Marvin Scott, not the real Marvin Scott, Marvin Scott. I had some choice language for this person who had borrowed an account, so to speak, and they just didn't respond to me. It was very frustrating, but I was watching them make new posts, going from a white man to a black man to an Indian guy before he deleted the account or blocked me. I don't know. It's hard to say. That might be a fresh wound, Marvin, but I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah,
I also have been ghosted.
It's healing. It's healing.
Okay. Tony, how about you, man? What grinds your gears?
Man, oh man, I only have one, but now I have two.
Oh.
But it's all because of Marvin. But the first one that I want to talk to you about, and what really grinds my gears, is this right here. Money. That's what grinds my gear. Now let me explain. Let me break it on down for you people out there listening and watching the podcast for the H2G. Listen, the cost of living is getting ridiculous. Inflation is at an all-time high at 6.2%. That's double what it normally is. This is absolutely outrageous. $13 for 3 pounds of ground beef. Inflation is kicking my ass, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to tell you, it grinds my gears. The money that I have in a savings account, in a checking account, is losing its purchasing power every single day. Because guess what? My shit don't make 6% in that checking or savings account. I don't know whose is, but it's making me want to invest my money. And if I invest my money, I have a chance of having what happened in 2008. And that's where you lose thousands of dollars. So what am I supposed to do, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my God, it's grinding my gears. I'm getting pissed about this money. That's number one. Okay. Number one right there. Number two, people who don't like reboots. Woo! All these mugs that don't like reboots. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You know what was rebooted? Scarface. Scarface original movie was in 1932. The remake was with Al Pacino. Greatest movie of all times, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, reboots is the master, okay? The Departed was a remake. Casino Royale with Daniel Craig was a remake. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was a remake. The Hustle was a remake. The Longest Yard, who's seen that shit with Burt Reynolds? Not me! No, Adam Sandler's the one that I've seen. Ocean's 11. Woo! That's a remake, reboot. Halloween, reboot, remake. I'm just telling you. And hold on, Justin, not yet. You don't jump in here. You better keep that tongue in your mouth. I'm not done yet. Moving on to the next thing. Third thing that grinds my gears is mother that don't watch Harry Potter. Oh, wait! Oh, if you don't even try Harry Potter, you shouldn't even be seen. I tell you right now, just like Muhammad Ali would tell you, ooh, it's a bad mug. You better watch you some Harry Potter before you start saying stuff about Harry Potter. If you don't know about Harry Potter, don't talk about Harry Potter. Fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Marvin Scott, you better watch you some Harry Potter. All right, now, what did you say? Halloween is a reboot. That's what I said. It is a reboot, Justo. Come on from you. I'm done. That's what grinds my gears. Money, people that don't like reboots, and Marvin Scott, I'm looking right at you. Look right at you. People that don't watch Harry Potter.
Well,
Love you.
I mean, as Marvin said, his new potential friend watches Harry Potter. It's very possible he will soon. So maybe one of those will be rectified.
He just came from the Harry Potter store when we hung out.
Yeah, see? So it's possible for conversion. It's possible. You're
not grinding my gears anymore, Marvin. You're not grinding my gears anymore. Love it.
Justin, you had something about Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yeah, man. And I pulled up all this stuff just to have it handy. I'm not going to read though. So I'm scrolling and I try to stay out of it because I have a tendency to get hot-headed on Facebook and I don't want to get involved in the social media battle because I do firmly believe, let me just make my disclaimer, that social media is being used to divide us as a country and distract us from the things that matter. But the whole Rittenhouse case is going down. If you didn't know, he was facing a total of, people keep saying 5, it was actually 7 charges and 2 of them got dismissed, but it was first-degree reckless homicide, using dangerous weapon, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, use of a dangerous weapon. 2 of those charges, actually. One was first-degree intentional homicide, use of a dangerous weapon, attempted first-degree intentional homicide. And then he had possession of the weapon under 18, failure to comply with emergency order, and 2 of those were dismissed. All of them, none of them stuck. Kids walking free. We got another Casey Anthony situation in our hands. And I'm just seeing still, I mean, this is what's grinding my gears about this. The outcome that certain people wanted was given, but they're still bitching about it all over the internet. Meanwhile, those of us who have knowledge about firearms, firearm safety, and the firearm laws, like myself, who used to sell firearms, has been a firearm instructor, owns several firearms, and understands both, you can call it the Stand My Ground law, depending on the state you're in. You can call it the Castle, I think it's called the Castle law or something like that in Wisconsin or wherever this happened. But if you don't know about Rittenhouse, during the protest last year for civil rights against police brutality, which is an active problem in the country, people were exercising their absolute right to protest police brutality. Kyle Rittenhouse showed up with an AR-15 at the age of 17 and essentially charged a crowd. Somebody threw trash at him. He shot and killed that guy. Then he fired 2 more times as he was falling to the ground and killed 1 other person, injuring a 3rd. He was not charged with anything. And everybody is still blowing up my freaking social media about how it should have never been a case. He was like, this is proof that the government's trying to take guns out of our hands. First of all, age 17, you just purely cannot be open carrying. Doesn't matter what state you're in. There's no state where you can open carry an AR-15 at the age of 17 legally. It was dismissed because there was some confusion. It was a confusing, what do they call that? statute. This was Wisconsin, right? Was it Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Yeah. So it was they labeled the statute as confusing, so they had to dismiss the underage, the fact that he even had the gun. The way owning a firearm works, folks, if you have a CCW, if you don't have a CCW in an open carry state, you have a registered firearm that you're openly carrying, using that firearm in a conflict is extremely, one, difficult to do legally, and two, the absolute last resort. The only time that you're not going to be questioned for shooting and killing an assailant of some sort is when they break into your house and you kill them in your house in the front. Like if someone breaks in and steals your TV and they're running out the door with your TV, if you have a CCW, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what state you're in. You can't shoot the person in the back. That is murder. You have to shoot them and somehow prove that you were defending yourself. When it comes to being in public, there's a lot more that goes into it. You can't endanger anyone around you. You have to know for a fact that you've got clearance beyond the target. So the target and beyond is what they teach us in CCW class. An AR-15 can travel for a mile, folks. Pretty close to a mile, depending on the model, depending on the gun, depending on the ammunition used. There's no way in that compact street that he was ever within law, even shooting that fucking gun. Wasn't old enough to have it. It's just pure bullshit that he got off. I wasn't going to say anything about it on Facebook. I wasn't going to say anything about it on the podcast. You know why? Because I expect that from this fucking country. I understand when a white boy walks in the street with AR-15 and kills some people who are protesting against something that's been a problem for hundreds of years, nothing's going to get done about it. But for you to sit here and still bitch about it on Facebook, go fuck yourself. Come at me. My inbox, my email is justtosbestlive@gmail.com. Come on the podcast. But I'm so tired of people acting like he was within some kind of gun rights. I know my gun rights. I know everything about my firearms. I learn every single time I go to the range what's acceptable and what's not for safety reasons, where I ever have to step in and help somebody with my firearms. And I take it extremely serious, and so does my entire family. So those of you gun nuts out there who know nothing about firearms or are preaching that Kyle Rittenhouse was within his rights, go fuck yourself.
Wow.
Cancel. He's getting canceled on that. Before you say something, Richie, I want to read this quote really quick that I was thinking about that when Justo was talking. Okay, cops murdered John Crawford holding a toy, not guilty. Cops murdered Tamir Rice holding a toy, not guilty. Cops murdered Breonna Taylor as she slept, not guilty. Kyle Rittenhouse murdered 2 people at a racial justice rally, not guilty. The system isn't broken, it was built this way. That's the sad reality of it all.
I mean, you're talking about consistency, right? Because you're talking about every person who killed somebody was white there. So how is it different with Kyle Rittenhouse? But in all seriousness, here's what I will say about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. It's the prosecution sucked, and they went too quick, and he should be not guilty. I just heard how passionate Justin is, but he should be not guilty. I was watching this every single day. I'm an extreme Democrat. I'm an extreme left-wing person, and I'll say that with conviction. I'm not one of those people who like to try to say, "Oh, I take both." No. I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal, 100%. I believe the Second Amendment is insane. I believe we shouldn't be having guns anymore. I'm very different than Justin in that capacity. I don't believe anyone should have a gun, period. But Kyle Rittenhouse should be not guilty. And the reason why is the prosecution went the wrong direction. They went with first-degree charges across the board. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to put him away for life. And they went with murder instead of manslaughter, right? Because the problem with trying to convict murder is you have to prove without a shadow of doubt to that jury that he intentionally was trying to kill them, which was not the case. He did kill them, but he wasn't trying to kill them. Whereas manslaughter, they just had to have been killed by him. So they went overboard. And the reason why they went overboard is they were hoping, as a young man who was 17 at the time and now 18, he would have just took a plea deal. This happens all too commonly in society, and it happens a lot with drug convictions, quite frankly. And that's why you have a lot of young African Americans who end up going to jail and they take plea deals because they're afraid and they don't have the financial backing to defend themselves. So they went aggressive to try to get him to do a plea deal and then lock him away. And then they had no evidence. Let me give you some examples. I'm not looking at anything, but here's an example. The lawyer, being the prosecutor, tried to ask Kyle Rittenhouse with the intent of, you're carrying an assault rifle, which is an aggressive gun, right? That's what is his whole argument. It's aggressive. That is a very strong statement. Why didn't you carry a pistol? And Kyle looked at him straight in the face and said, because it would have been illegal. And it's true. And the fact that the prosecutor didn't understand that shows you how inept they were in their case. The other thing he tried to do was he talked about how Kyle Rittenhouse played Call of Duty a lot. He tried to say that because he played video games that killed people, that he himself was basically desensitized to the idea of that. So that is why he walked away. He did not walk away because of the fact that, he was purely innocent. And so people who want to tout that, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and argue. But the bottom line is we have a due process, and that's what this is for. And the prosecution failed miserably, and that's on the prosecution. And Kyle Rittenhouse is lucky and thankful that they went for first-degree charges of murder instead of manslaughter. And that's where we are today. But the bottom line is this: is if I'm charged with something and it's inept and inaccurate, and I get accused, I should be allowed to just continue to live my life. And that's where Kyle's at this point. Now, do I believe he was an aggressor on some level? Do I believe that self-defense is kind of a questionable decision? Of course I do, right? He brought an assault rifle. But I will say with Justin, the only thing I don't necessarily agree with is it wasn't just protesting, it was rioting. They were rioting at that point. It was day 4, and a lot of buildings had been looted and vandalized. So at this point, this young man was claiming that he was going down there to defend the stores and things of that nature. So it was there was a little more to it, but nonetheless.
But you're not allowed to do that. you're not allowed to take a rifle into public and do that. Period.
I don't.
And first of all, he came from another state to
20 minutes away.
State.
Right.
You took a gun. If you wanted to go down there to protect something or to protest or whatever it is, you take it. Who takes a gun? When you take a gun, that's your intent right there. You're looking for trouble. I don't care how old you are or who you are. That is fact. I know it, and everyone else on this panel knows it. It's too bad the world doesn't know it. But hey, I understand what everybody's saying. I'm just saying, if I took a gun somewhere, I'm looking for trouble.
Looking
period.
For or expecting.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And the gentleman Gage Grosskreutz or whatever his name was, also had a pistol, and that's exactly why he got shot, quite frankly. So it's very different. We'll get back to this. This is obviously a hot topic. I don't want to dismiss it. So you guys stay tuned. We got to pay the bills, and we'll be back. Marvin's got something to say. I'm sure he hasn't had the opportunity.
Going in, it's 1st and 10. I'm a legend boy, a champion. They can't match the flows, the X's and O's. I'm breaking the code, devastation about to unfold. They calling me Derek by the way I roll. Bet you never ever seen a pro this cold. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mix with Iron Mike and the great Ali. I'm a run it back, believe me, baby. I fathered the game, call me Daddy Brady. I'm like that, try be like this. Sammy Sosa, that boy don't miss. It's the return of the greatest. Any way you name it, I'm everybody's favorite. I'm bringing the pain and bringing the fire. Hey, stay tuned, it's going down to the wire.
Welcome back, everybody. We were talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. We're going to go straight to Marvin. Marvin had something he wanted to discuss. Marv.
Yeah. The case in itself was disappointing, especially the outcome. I'm going to be careful because I want to try to compartmentalize my emotions here and how I feel about the case. Initially, when I got the outcome, my reaction is much different. I come off much different now than how I did a few days ago when I first heard it. And Richie, you're right. When you look at the prosecution, it's about what you can prove in court, regardless of what the intent may be, or because that's speculation at that point. Is can you prove the speculation? What facts do you have? What collective piece, and what information do you have that can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he murdered 2 people? Now, from the outside looking in, if you haven't gathered that much information about it, or you one of the first people to hear about the case, or you weren't following it like I knew a lot of people were. It was unfortunate. I brought it to their attention that this young kid, this 17-year-old kid, took a semi-automatic weapon and drove to another state. And to me, it feels as if he had full intent on what he was planning to do, because he didn't take a handgun. Now, I'm not a prosecutor, but that's just what it looks like to me. And just seeing cases, over time in history telling us these outcomes are not surprising and not really shocking to me and you, Tony. They really shouldn't be, because this is not the first time or the last time, unfortunately, that this has happened. When you look at the Trayvon Martin case, that in itself said that there was a loophole in the stand your ground law. This kid was walking home with Skittles in Arizona. I don't really see how he was a threat. Ahmaud Arbery too. It's just a shame that you have cases like this that are so delicate, and you really have a chance. The prosecution really had a chance to do all they could to prove manslaughter, not put this kid away for life. I mean, you're trying to put this kid away for life. That's not gonna happen. That wasn't gonna happen. And so what happened? So basically, the outcome to me was just a clear disdain and disregard for the families. And I'll be quite honest with you guys, just this outcome attests to, regardless of how you feel about it, or whether it wasn't approved beyond reasonable doubt, this attests to white supremacy to me. And that's just 100. What you have is, two white individuals were killed, but yet there seems to be the moral code seems to be absent here from that courtroom. It seems like to me, it seems as if the issue on standing your ground came more important than proving that this kid had full intent. This kid drove from another state. If someone says, Marvin, there's a hate group, there's a hate rally going on in the next town, don't go there because I think your life is threatened. And I go there and I get into a fight or I kill people. How's that self-defense at that point? So from the outside looking in, the people that aren't prosecutors, that's what it seems like to me, Richie. Like, it seems as if this kid knew fully what he was going to do. And after the fact, he had so many people stand in his corner. And that's all he needed was just enough. And that was enough to get off. And it's actually a shame, fellas, because the date that I went on, the chick was really naive when it came to this topic. She was like, Marvin, he's going to get locked up for life. Are you crazy? There's so much video evidence. Is she crazy? Does she not understand what we've had to see historically? Does she understand that there was video evidence? When Rodney King got his ass almost beat to death? Does she understand that there was video evidence there? No. This is a system that will forever be flawed by white supremacy and fueled by racism. That may be an ugly word to you all out there, but it is what it is. Kyle Rittenhouse got off. Yeah, he got off. Cool. But so will someone else. He's just a poster child now for the stand your ground law bullshit loopholes that they came up with. Because I happen to know that the playing field is not level. If that was me, fellas, if that's me or Tony, that's not making it to court. If I drive to another state and kill people, you think that, am I making it to court? No. So yeah, we can sit here and we've made it this far. This kid was lucky to make it this far so we can talk about him here on the show. But yeah, there wasn't enough to prove that he did it. And he got off like so many have in history. It's no different.
Yeah, Marvin. I think what you said is kind of indicative of what this is. We talked about it earlier about I mentioned they're all white, and that's what this is. The rules apply differently. The laws are when it's a white person, then the laws apply. When it's not a white person, then none of them apply. My perspective is this. I want to go through the story of it and then lead to ultimately what would have happened if it was anybody else. He's 17 years old, lives 20 minutes away. His father's from Kenosha, to clarify why he went over there. He drives over there with a gun. His intent allegedly is, I have a gun, they're not going to attack me. Well, people start running at him, and then he starts shooting. Well, the difference is if he was black or Hispanic or anything else, holding an assault rifle after just shooting people, running to the police, he would not have been alive today, to Marvin's point. And I think that's where the difference comes. Because from my perspective, under the court of law and due process, I think the right thing happened because of the prosecution's decisions. But obviously, the bigger problem here is the privileges that sometimes people get. And in this case, what he got, because anyone else would have been shot dead right then and there. They wouldn't have been asking questions. They wouldn't have decided that he's 17 or he's scared. No, that wouldn't happen. This happened in South Carolina. It's happened in Georgia, or multiple times where you always find it interesting that the young white man has mental issues and the police are very accommodating to that. And that doesn't tend to happen to anybody else. So to Marvin's point, I think that's the bigger line of this story. But, I think that's something we all have to learn in general. As I was watching this for about 3 weeks, and I was watching every day, and 3 weeks ago I called it, he's going to walk. And, obviously it's not from Marvin and Tony's perspective of why he's going to walk, but I was just watching what the prosecution wasn't doing. But quite frankly, you can look at it from that perspective too. And of course he's going to walk. It is what it is, and it's where we're at, and things haven't changed. I mean, a lot of the protesting, and ironically, on some level, although this is police brutality, the system itself is something we always discuss in that sense too. And that's what this is. This is just another example of the system, not in its inequality, quite frankly. So it's disappointing. And I hope that the people who are so naive on the left that think, justice will come, have come to realize that justice doesn't come in that factor. And I don't know if that will ever change. I don't think it will, quite frankly. The only time that'll come is if you leave the country you live in. I'm sorry. It's the only way, man. It's all we got. But Justin, did you have anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, this is something else.
Controversial topics, or you want to continue?
I've got a little more on this. I do have. Okay. It's more of a funny. I mean, not funny, but we can get into like conspiracy theories, because you guys know I have some, but like I've dove into conspiracy after a conversation we had last week, so I got some fun stuff there. But before we get on the fun stuff, I do get really passionate about this because I working in a gun store for me, and I guess I'm more left-sided. I'm not a free goer either. I just have my beliefs, and I don't know that they line up with any political affiliation. I'm not sure that they do, because there's things I disagree with on both sides. However, I worked in a gun store. We sold all kinds of different guns and accessories, and we saw what people ordered. And that had a toll on me mentally, because I have a constant like overthinking. And my biggest grope about social media and coverage of things like this is what it teaches America. And what this teaches America is that the stand your ground law, or the castle doctrine, is something that it's not. And most people are too lazy to go look that up. And some of those most people that are too lazy to go look that up and think they know what it is because of what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse may have guns. So those people may make poor decisions with guns. I just want to bring up a couple of key points. Open carry is legal anywhere the concealed carry is. That's what open carry state means. If your state has a concealed carry law, then there's an open carry law. Across the board, this means that any person over the age of 18 can open carry a firearm. And in some states, they have, like in Ohio, you have to have it unloaded. You have to have the magazine in your pocket unless you have a concealed carry license, in which case you can even have it chambered. But you have to be, even in that case, you have to be brandished or not brandished. So you have to be concealed or open carry completely. You can't have just the handle sticking out. You can't have it concealed and then reach to the top shelf at Walmart and grab something and brandish it because Karen can call on you and you can get brandishing charges. It is a misdemeanor. I think that's a miss, but we're not talking about how these laws are set, but it's a misdemeanor for anybody who's 18 or younger to open carry any type of firearm in public. The only time it's acceptable is at a gun range, going out hunting with your family. You have to have a supervisor who is in charge of that gun. You at 17 below, you can't do it. So my point, as far as this all goes, Kyle Rittenhouse at 17 should not have been open carrying an AR-15 into any public space, period. The Castle Doctrine and the Stand Your Ground Clause are essentially the same thing, just different titles for different states. And what it exactly presumes is that using force is reasonable and justified when another person is unlawfully and with force entering or attempting to enter your habitation, vehicle, or workplace. Why that's confusing is because in public space, on almost all laws, especially in regards to discharging your firearm in public, you have to have a substantial amount of evidence to prove that you were in fear for your life or you were trying to save somebody else who was going to die. Like, otherwise you're going to get in trouble for shooting your firearm, according to the law. Stand your ground means if someone breaks into your house, or Castle Doctrine, breaks into your house, breaks into your car with murderous intent, you have the right to defend your family on your property. If I'm home and somebody's shooting somebody outside, it is not my responsibility to go outside with my firearm and take care of that situation. If I do, I'm facing murder charges. Not me, because I'm white, but the average gun owner, technically speaking, you're not supposed to. Technically speaking, on my CCW course, I was told that the way the law is set up in Ohio is if I have a family, which I do now, and we're in a 3-bedroom house, we're all in the living room, and we hear someone break into the garage window. And I look on my phone, I see the security camera, and there's someone in the garage trying to rob me. According to law, even though I have a firearm and I'm legally registered and I have my CCW, I am supposed to go into the most safe room in the house with my family and call the police. If I go into the garage and shoot that person, I'm not standing my ground. I'm murdering him. I'm seeking a conflict with the firearm. So I just wanted to be clear, right or wrong on this situation, clearly, it really comes down to something other than what happened in the court case, as we've already discussed. But I don't want people to walk away from this, not do any research, have guns they either should or shouldn't have, or their access to their parents' guns or uncle's guns or whatever, and think that you can just, this person's in my neighborhood and they're causing trouble, so I can go down there and shoot them because Kyle Rittenhouse did. That's the type of shit that makes me mad about social media getting a hold of this, because people are too lazy to do their own research on shit. That's all I had to say on that.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to go with my first one, which ironically didn't plan on going after Kyle Rittenhouse. Why are guns legal? I still don't understand that. I've never been a fan of it. I always love this argument. I have it with so many people. This isn't like the 1700s anymore, where you have to defend your house and your honor, and you need a sense of safety and security. You're not hunting with it anymore. So why is it legal? Why do we need it at this point? Because I always hear, if the government gets too corrupt. No, if the government gets corrupt, they have bigger guns than you. You're still going to die, you idiot. I don't understand your logic there. There's no reason we should have guns at this point in our lives. We do not need guns. I understand guns make someone feel safe, but this is what happens, And quite frankly, the one thing that people don't realize is the biggest cause of death from guns is not from homicide and murders. It's suicide. It's somebody having access. My best friend killed himself with a gun 2 years ago, shot himself in the head. All right. Now, do I think it's possible he would have killed himself by other means if he didn't have a gun? Sure. But maybe the police would have had more, and the ambulance would have had opportunities to save his life if it was by any other means. I absolutely detest guns. I think they have no place in society. And for anyone who says it gives them a sense of security, well, welcome to being a woman. They don't feel safe anywhere. That's their reality every single day, whether they have a gun or not. It doesn't matter. You having a gun does not make you more secure. You may think it does, but then you run into these situations here, right? Whether you're black, white, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is very simple. If you have a gun, just as to the point of what we just said about Kyle Rittenhouse, you are being active and aggressive. It doesn't matter that you say you're only holding it on your side. How am I supposed to trust that as a person? How am I supposed to trust? How often are these gun situations, somebody entered a household and that's where it occurred? That's never, well, not never. That's probably less than 20%. I'm sure somebody could do data on that. But it is very less likely that that's what happens. It happens through theft on the street. And again, like all of these things could be completely controlled. You could not kill 5 people with a knife in the amount of time you can kill 5 people with a gun. And that's where these murders happen. They happen instantaneously and to more than one victim when it does occur. And it doesn't occur as much as people think. I'm not claiming 100,000 people died of guns every single year. That's not the case. I think it's been like less than 1 million in the last 10 years. But the point is this, is most of it is from suicide. I think it's close to 60%. And I think the other 30% is through murder via, crime and defense claims. So that's why I get disgusted, is most of these deaths are from people who need mental health. And if you remove the access to that, they're more likely to be alive today. Not all of them, but some of them, because they don't have the capability. It is a lot harder. I'm telling you, it is a lot harder to hold a knife and either stab yourself, run it down your arm, or stab somebody else with intent when you're talking about like committing a crime than it is to go bang. That takes no courage. And that's the difference. And that's why these things happen. So for me, that's my biggest grind, my gears, and it always will be. I've never understood guns. I'm not a gun fanatic. I've shot guns, just to clarify. I went down with my buddy to South Carolina and he was just like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, man, whatever. And he took me out. We had an assault rifle, shot out, had a good time. But I didn't see the appeal personally. I just don't get it. I get it's for sport, but it's just like somebody who wants to play football. I understand that sometimes you do that on the weekend and you do it for fun at a range, but is it worth people dying? Like if people were playing football and people were dying playing football, would you still be like, yeah, like we should still have football? Like it doesn't make sense from my perspective. And I don't think it ever will. One of the few countries in the world that even like, quite frankly, has the immeasurable amounts of laws that protect people who carry guns. It's absurd. Look at Australia. They took away guns. Ain't nobody dying from hardly anyone. Because they always argue if you take away guns, people will find it on the black market and they'll still shoot each other and they'll make it happen. And the person with the gun, when you didn't have one, is the one who's going to kill you. And it is less than 5% at this point. I think there's been 3 deaths with guns in the last 3 years in Australia. It is crazy to me. And what happened was 10 years ago, there was a mass murdering with an assault rifle, which is why they're like, all right, we're done with this. It's over. We're not going to have it. No more guns. Get out of here. No more assault weapons. They're gone. I don't like them. Justin's got something to say. I see his face.
No, I'm just gonna joust. I'll wait for my turn on the whether or not.
No, go for it.
But the joust is they may not have gun issues in Australia, but they have the most brutal serial killers of all time in Australia. So I mean, you still got to wait for that amongst the kangaroos attacking you.
Okay, so how many deaths did these serial killers allot versus how many deaths have been in the United States?
You're right. Probably not nearly as many.
Not nearly as many. That's a weird narrative.
But also, I mean, you're much more likely to get killed by a serial killer in Australia.
Sure, and you're much more likely to get killed by a gun in the United States.
That's true.
Maybe the amount of let's look at probability, right? If there's 100 people who die by gun and there's one guy who dies by the mass murderer, I'll live in the mass murder area, like for sure. I'm 99 times less likely to die. And if I'm going to die, it's going to be by a professional. I can live with that. Man. If the professional killer is the one who gets me, instead of some guy who's just so broke and he feels like he has to rob me and he gets so anxious that he accidentally pulls the trigger after I give him my wallet. Yeah. Give me the guy who intentionally tried to kill me. I take that any day of the week.
I'm not as contradictory as you would think I would be on this, because I do own firearms and I am into them. What I think there needs to be serious reform. And that also comes from me working in the industry of selling. I'm never going to pinpoint the particular shop I worked for is fantastic. They sell fine guns. It was way kind of different. I think that's why I have a bit of the outlook I do, because people are still collecting antique firearms from the Revolutionary War, and it's worth more if it can still fire, quite frankly, and things like that. So it's a collector piece. There are people who are fascinated with it. There's competition around it. The Olympics have shooting sports. However, the issue, in my opinion, is when someone comes to me to buy a firearm at a gun store, they have to do the same form that you have to do anywhere. Right? You have to go to FFL. You got to do this form. The form is the only thing you indicate on the form is whether it's a handgun or a long gun. It does not say if it's an AR-15, if it's a single shot rifle, if it's a shotgun. As far as the AR-15 stuff goes, I'm more so with Richie on that. I don't necessarily understand the reason to have a 30-round magazine that you can disperse in less than a minute, especially when bump stocks or what were those called? Fast react triggers. When that stuff was around, it's like, you've got an automatic weapon. And the only time, and my former boss even said this, the only time that's ever necessary to have a firearm like that is in war, when you need to lay down suppressive fire so some people can get in a different direction. I mean, you're never going to need to fire that many rounds in a second. But so the only thing that can stop you from getting a firearm is a felony, really. You might get delayed, and in which case they're going to do further investigation. But the only two things that is really going to stop you is if you have a felony or if you're underage. If you go in there, if Kyle Rittenhouse went into a gun shop to FFL, try to fill out that form, he would have not been able to buy that firearm because he was 17. If somebody has a felony from 10 years ago, they cannot technically be found with or purchase a firearm. And I don't even know if they've fixed that in any states where it gets expunged later on down the road. I don't know anything about that. My issue with it is there's no required safety courses for buying firearms. There's no required training. There's no required mental state check. There's no they don't cross-reference it with diagnosis. And I know that would be extremely detailed to do, but it needs to happen. Like if you want to have guns in society and have the option to go to the range and shoot guns, if you still do hunt for your family, because there are people, I don't mean to correct you, it's definitely a small number, but I know people that do that. They hunt, they plan on hitting deer tag limits all over. It is a pest control situation. Deer hunting is. In most states, that's why it's legal. That's why the bag limits increase, because the deer are ruining crops and they're, all kinds of issues. So there are people that still hunt for that reason, but
they hunt for sport. They don't hunt to eat.
Well, there are people that
there are people who elect to eat because they want to hunt to eat. They don't have to.
They don't have
choosing to.
Right.
What I said was they used to have to hunt to live
because they couldn't go to the store.
We farm animals now. It is not the same thing.
Right.
They're choosing to because they have the privilege to do so. Because they know if they don't get something, they can just go to Kroger, Safeway, or wherever they need to go to feed their family. They're not comparable. They're not the same.
Right. But I'm not saying I'm just saying there are people that feel like they're in that boat. Like they don't have to do it, but that's what they have their guns for. They go hunting with them. Some people have them for competition's sake. The trap and ski is an Olympic sport. It's something that a lot of people do participate in, similar to I hate to compare it to golf because I don't think there's a professional presence of it in golf like that. But I sold specifically trap and ski guns, so I'm just familiar with there being a huge market for that. But I think it has to be a lot harder to obtain. You need to have to go through training. You need to understand the laws and you need to be held accountable to them. Shit like this where there's 3 different versions of the same doctrine that is so confusing that the court has to throw out the charges on it.
Short barrel versus long barrel. That's what happened.
Right.
It was stupid because on a technicality of it being a foot long, they're saying it was fine for him to have it. If it was less than a foot long, that's when it would have been a problem. And that's to your point why this is stupid. But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter how much bureaucracy you put into this. People will always die to guns. It's the reality of life. The second most used death weapon is knives at 11%. And the people's argument when I talk to them about guns is always, then the knives will just go up. Not really, because you can only carry a 3-inch blade. It doesn't happen that often. And at that point, the only way you can do something more legal with that is when you're open carrying a giant machete. And then obviously you're going to see the guy's got a crazy knife and you're going to avoid him.
Or you're in Australia.
Or you're in Australia, in which case they are the most professional killers, clearly. With knives. I don't think there's a world, and I don't think there will ever be a world where guns and law will magically be perfect to where this will happen. Because again, I understand what you're saying about the sport of it, but archery is a sport. You don't see people taking bow and arrows and just shooting people. No, because it's so much more hard to do. That's why they don't do it. Guns are significantly easier to kill people with than any other weapon. That's why they're used. I'm not saying that the other weapons aren't weapons and they're not lethal. They are, but they're so incredibly challenging to use lethally, they're not used. And that's what I always try to explain to people, is that if you take guns away, people aren't going to start practicing with the bow and arrow to try to start killing people. That's not what's going to happen. They're going to have to just find crimes they can commit that don't require such lethal forces. They're not going to become like master, like katana wielding. That's not how this goes. That's not life, man. It's craziness to me. And I personally just don't see the value of having something that could harm somebody else be legal. It doesn't make sense to me, right? Like it's crazy to me that you can have something that could kill me and I can't carry something that's if it's 3 inches, it's okay. But if it's an extra inch, now it's illegal. That's so absurd to me at that point. I've never understood that. I can only wield, because I love pocket knives, to your point, Justin. I love knives and I collect knives, but obviously I don't collect anything that could kill somebody, which is why there's a 3-inch blade. You would have to be a master professional from Australia to be killing someone with a 3-inch blade. It is possible, but very unlikely, which is why 3-inch retractable knives are legal, and they're legal in every state. Some states actually allow up to 5 inches, and those are the more boondock ones. But that's quite frankly risky in my opinion, because a 5-inch blade can kill you. A 3-inch blade, oh my God, you would have to masterfully kill somebody with that. It's possible, but very, very challenging. So having said that, I would be a proponent of saying no knives are legal. It wouldn't bother me one bit. I'd be like, here, take every single knife I own. Here's like $1,400. Take it. No problem. Because if that's what it took, even my chef's knife, no problem. You know what I mean? I find a way to use, I don't know, a hammer and mace, whatever it took. It doesn't matter, man. That's what grinds my gears, guns, quite frankly. I had some other things to talk about, but this one was a bigger subject for me at this point. I was going to talk about like weight. I was going to talk about like society as a whole, but you know what? Guns. America, get out of here. We don't need guns. Anybody else? You got any things that's grinding your gears?
Talked a lot, so I'll concede to the other guys.
We talked a lot. We talked a lot just then.
Man, you know what grinds my gears is motherfuckers that talk too much. Now,
yeah.
No, I'm just messing. Listen, everything that was said, it was valid. I didn't really have anything else to say to that. You know, Richie brought up some key points. I'll go into last word unless Marvin has something to say.
Nah, we all know what pisses each other off, so we're good.
Right. I mean, we're a tough knit group that we pretty much know ourselves in and out, and the people that are on this panel in and out. So, I mean, once again, thanks to everybody for their viewpoints for today. I'm really excited and glad that we were able to come together and do this show for all you folks out there that are listening and watching the H2G podcast. I just wanted to recap really quick. Hey, babe, Richie said 5 inches does kill. Just wanted you to know, babe. Richie said it right here on the podcast, okay? The next thing.
It's more than enough is what I said.
It's more than enough, all right? Inflation is killing more than the Australian serial killers. It's killing us, folks, okay? 6.2%. Make sure you are doing what you can, because you're just losing the value of your money. What can you do? Maybe we'll do a show about it coming to you. Maybe this season, maybe next season, the H2G will bring it to you. But I wanted to thank everybody. I appreciate the love. What's grinding your gears? Post down below. What's grinding your gears. Maybe we'll be able to talk about it. All right, that's my time. To you, Marvin.
We're on last. This is the last word.
The last word, yes, sir.
This is the last word. Okay. Wow, that went quick, didn't it? That went pretty quick. Well, I mean, I got a good idea of what what pisses you guys off, what grinds your gears. But I want to know what grinds your gears out there. Definitely leave a comment on Facebook, hit us up, let us know what's bothering you. It's always good for us. You never know, we might talk about it on the show. It may hit close to home. But one more thing that grinds my gears is overly clingy Harry Potter fans. You can love Harry Potter, but you don't have to worship the damn boy. It's still, at the end of the day, it's wizardry, it's magicry, it's magic realism. All that stuff is not real. It's all fantasy. It's there to entertain you. That's what J.K. Rowling was trying to do. She's a great woman. She is a genius, but that's what she was trying to do. Entertain all of you out there. What a goal was not to be obsessed with it. So that's just my thing. You won't grind my gears if you're just a cool, chill, calm, and collected fan. You don't have to go to the store and buy up all kinds of shit. You don't have to do that.
Wait, I know. But did your lady just do that?
Yeah, but if she's listening to this, it doesn't matter. I'll take shots at it. We can pick at it. That's the kind of relationship.
All right.
Now, she picked on me last week when my fantasy team lost, so I didn't forget about that.
Oh.
Yeah, she's a Seahawks fan. She is a Seahawks fan. She's not listening to the show today, but we'll see. We'll see if we get along down the line. But yeah, it was a great show, fellas. I'm looking forward to next week, and I'm glad I got an idea what makes us mad and what makes us happy.
Yeah, for sure, man. Season finale coming up. Justin, season finale coming up. What's your last word?
Yeah, man. So we got the season finale. We're going to get into some more deep discussion. Keep your eyes out. We're in talks about maybe putting a Christmas special up, and then we'll come back after the new year with our season 8. That's fucking crazy. We're already there. Whatever grinds your gears, like everybody said, I don't even have to really pitch, but Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the audio platforms, we've been putting up these Q&As and polls, and we'd love to get some feedback there and in the review section. Also, if you don't mind, just download it. If you're sitting on a plane and there's people talking in the middle of the plane and they're really grinding your gears because they won't shut the fuck up, you can put your headphones in and listen to the downloaded version of the H2G podcast because you downloaded it before you got on your flight, and that helps us. That helps you. And our Patreon links in the bottom there. Any donations help in a huge way. And if you donate even $1, we're going to give you exclusive backstage access to both this and the Wire podcast. My advice this week, I got a quick plug and then just some advice. The Circle and Luck, we're not getting paid by them, but the Circle and Luck bracelets, if you have a loved one who's living far away from you, these things are fantastic. I'm in a long distance relationship. Some people have brothers, sisters, cousins, anything that live far away and you used to be close and you want to keep in touch with them. Every time I touch my bracelet, like right now, Jordan, my girlfriend, her bracelet's lighting up because I just touched mine. She's in Kansas City, I'm in Dallas. It's a really cool, very inexpensive, and just a really cool gift idea. We did it before Christmas just because it was so exciting that they came in or whatever. But it's called Circle and Luck. Just look them up. Touch bracelets, long distance relationship. And then no matter where you are in your financial journey, I recommend buying gifts for your loved ones. Not because it's about the gifts, but the gift of giving is real, and being able to think about somebody. I would argue that it's even more beneficial to you and to them when it's more meaningful and less about the money. But do that. You don't have to go crazy like I did and kind of break the bank a little, but give a little. Live, laugh, love like it's your last.
I'm going to go against what Justin just said. Not to live, laugh, love like it's your last. But watch out for those bracelets, man. Because I've already seen that drama. You know what's going to happen. You're going to hit that button. She's going to hit it back. Later, she's going to hit that button and you're going to forget to hit it back because you're watching the football game and she's going to get on you. Babe, why didn't you hit the button? We're supposed to hit it back. So I say, I love you like you said you love me. So watch out. I see what happens there. You get ghosted, like Marvin's point. So you got to watch out for ghosting someone with your love bracelet, locks, whatever it was called. Justin just plugged it. What was it again, Justin?
Circle and Luck.
Circle and whatever. Circle and Luck right there. So watch out. See, Jordan's getting it right now. Bing, bing, bing. So she'll probably hit it back. And if he doesn't hit it back later, he's going to get it. You already know how this stuff goes. Watch out. All I got to do is I am very thankful that Christy was not here on this episode today because she always grinds my gears. So that was good. So thank you, Chrissy, for not attending today. Marvin's clapping with me because he understands my pain. I'm just playing. Like I said, we're going to have the finale next week, so stay tuned. We'll probably have a Christmas episode. If we don't, it's because we're just too busy. But stay tuned for it. Christy's supposed to host. I'm not going to say what it is, but it should be fun. Until then, live, laugh, love like it's your last. I'm stealing Justin's tag this time.
Wow.
Peace out, everybody.
You know what grinds my gears?
When people stand in line.
Harry Potter!
Daniel Radcliffe. Yes.